You know what's funny? You know, what does it sound like a Peter Griffin thing about what grinds my gears? Well, get this. I got so many fucking people to criticize. And if you're on the forefront, you're going to get a lot of criticism. So I take a lot of shit. But I always get the kick how people would say you're not following the rules. You're not doing what we think you should do is right or wrong. Fuck them. That's the funny part. You deal with, in particular with the left-hand path paradigm, because you're dealing with individuality, individuals, individuality, independent growth, that kind of thing. Somehow they feel as though you need to do things this way, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, that's kind of like a counter paradigm. Or are you sure you're in the right one? And but I also get it from a lot of different other people. A good example with my YouTube channel, with the Rev.Ronald for You channel. I get rid of all the comments and the thumbs up and down stuff. It's like, I don't want to hear from you. This is my vlog. This is how I express myself, and whether you like me, yay, and subscribe, and if you don't, then you just move along. But what I find common with the paradigms of, let's say witchcraft and paganism, they don't want to change the channel. What they want to do is they want to act like the the parental advisory panel. They want to change my content. You say bad words, or whatever the fuck it might be. And that's the funny part. They rather change content than change the channel. So they want somehow to play big government on me, or whatever it might be. The left-hand paradigm, for instance, they'll go off and say, you're a no goody because you're off, taking away the comment channel, and you're taking away the the thumbs up and down rating system. And I'm thinking to myself, well, when it comes to the left-hand path paradigm, again, I don't like it. And so it's entertaining for me. I mean, this is like a good example of a project, if you would. Because you can flesh out the douchebags versus the people who are actually true to what they believe in. So when I get the criticisms from the people out there saying boo-hoo on you for not playing this game, you gotta understand, Facebook is a social network. YouTube is a social network. Not quite developed that way, but it is, because you're on video and you're in public and you're going out. So what I did was I just made YouTube a hosting site for my videos, and I put these up on various organizations, other social clubs. It will be 600 Club, Pagan Net, or Pagan Space, 600 Club, that kind of thing. And when I do this, it's because that I channel who I'm actually focusing what feedback I'm looking for from different organizations and different people. So in essence, I control my atmosphere. I control my bubble, if you would. And it is it's not helter-skelter. And in other words, if you really need to say something to me, you would follow the format of which I go to, not that I follow the format that you go to. And like I said, I didn't need to be distracted by a lot of conflict or whatever it might be, because people can play with your buttons. They can push you around and say a few key words that might trigger you, and if you don't catch it, or you don't catch on to that, it'll be a cycle, it'll be repeated. So instead of figuring it out, I mean, I do figure it out, and there's some people out there in the world that do just piss me off by existing. So what I do is I simply channel them out, and at that point they're no longer an influence, positive or negative, however you interpret it that way. And then I go off and I go ahead. Now other people criticize, that's a bad thing too. Well, you know what, it is bad because it's bad for you, not for me. So I can do my thing, and I can express myself the way I want to express myself, and whether you like it or not. Now, those who are friends, fellows, followers, subscribers, however it will be listed as, or whatever, a fan, then you'd obviously be watching. Those who are out there that criticize, ridicule, give me a hard time, well, they just simply embed my video and put it into their particular social network, and then Shazam, ta-da, they make fun or they whatever they want to do. And that's fine too, because either way, if you love me or hate me, I still win. If you love me, I'm in your heart, and if you hate me, I'm in your head. And believe me, if I'm in your head, I'm like a wasp just stinging away. And that, to me, is more entertaining, believe it or not, because, well, if you really think I'm worth that much of attention, I must be saying something to hit a nerve with you. So that's where it comes from, the rules. Speaking of rules, I'm talking about the rules on a technical level, approvals, comments, thumbs ups and downs. Now let's look about things I've been bumping into. I did a ceremony a while back. It was a releasing ceremony for a gentleman who lost his partner and wanted to let go after the year anniversary, and even made a promise to do so, which was great. And I was invited for the ceremony. And the hostess of this place, the ceremony, made a comment, because it was like 8 people there, and it was 8 different paradigms, and 3 of which I had no clue about. Mind you, I'm a guy who founded a church. There's over 70 religions. I found 3 more. Thank you, and I wrote them down, and I posted them up. So this person talked a typical manner that I always found a conflict with me, and that was, don't you bring this negativity in this room, and not to me, to a friend. And even though maybe in jest, I always thought funny how people say, don't bring negativity, or this is negative. Actually, I used to belong to a little circle of people in the local area who, outside of being a little bit thin-skinned, they would go off and say things like, I was interrupted in a conversation where, I'm bringing negative in the room, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck happened to balance? If I don't, if you want to hug a tree and dance with butterflies and sing tra la 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 la, that's your choice. But nothing wrong with it. But if you're going to go off and deny a conflict or something that might be troubling you, and you're just focusing on the positive, you're blindsiding yourself. Acknowledge what's fucking you up. Turn around and say, fuck you, I'm not going to let you do it. Whether it be a person, place, or a thing, a situation, whatever. Embrace it. Understand what it is that's holding you back or keeping you down or what you perceive as negative. And fuck it up. Turn it around that way. To ignore it is to ignore yourself. Because that's an aspect of yourself that you're just not acknowledging. And quite simply, you're being a hypocrite. That's what I see. This word negative. It's subjective. Very subjective. Because what is negative to one person will be positive for the other. See, I see the word negative, in particular with the witchcraft and some pagan paradigms. I see it as a motive of control of another person. In fact, I see it as imposing your will over another person. How's that? Because you're now projecting this person to be of a negative influence and negative impact, and then socially demeaning them in this labeling. So if you have someone telling you that you're being negative, backslap that motherfucker and say, hey, is that negative enough for you? Understand what negative really is. They may not. Now, if you smack them side of the head, I'm sure they'll understand that way, won't they? No, I'm not endorsing violence. This may be a backhand. But it will wake them up. Remember the expression growing up, don't you cry, I'll give you a reason to cry? Don't claim negativity or I will show you negativity. Again, it's all perception. And again, one's negativity could be one's person's, positive. Don't think everybody thinks like you and then cast out a unilateral term like negativity as a form of control of another person. Even if you may not think that way, you are doing it that way. So a lot of paradigms that do not believe in exercising their will over another person actually do so by the mores and the social dogma that they live by. I think that's kind of funny. This is coming from someone on the left-hand path. Go figure. But it's a critique, it's an observation. And yes, I might be a little extreme in my demonstrations, but think about it. Maybe that's the whole purpose of this tape.